Good morning, everyone. Good morning. 28th today, 28th for the 1st. Now, signed up to Vote Watch, and as you can see on screen, Labour councillor charged with downloading child porn. Martin Judd, 25, appeared at Manchester Minshall Street, charged with downloading child pornography whilst a Labour councillor in Oldham. Judd faces allegations that between February 2018 and the same month last year, he downloaded 15 Category A, the most serious images, 23 Category B, and 40-something Category C. The young politician pleaded not guilty to all three allegations. Now, the MEP campaign, Tommy's MEP camp, we all went down. The Muslim Defence League came down. They attacked us with bricks. They beat someone up on the thingy. All sorts went on. Now, afterwards, a few patriots who come on demos regular, one of them's contacted me on the next demo, which was a couple of weeks later, and said, look, give me a map. And it showed where all these people come from. He'd done a recce. And then he claimed that someone come out of an house nearby, come down, and we identified him as Martin Judd, the Labour councillor. We got his picture up and identified him. So, and he was talking to people there, and he was saying he didn't know this was going to happen. So he knew that the Muslim Defence League were coming down, so the Labour Party would have known. Earlier on in that day, they did a sort of like an anti-racist demo in Oldham Town Centre where me, James, Joel, Arlene and Diane went up. That's on a video somewhere. I think it's on James's channel. I'll try and get it in the links, the video to it. So I'm active on Twitter, and I've been active with a Twitter account called The Oldham Eye. And it was him who messaged me telling me that Martin Judd had been dropped from the Labour Party. He didn't know why, but we suspected it was something to do with porn. That's what now, we didn't have any proof for this. I did come out tell everyone that he's been dropped from the Labour Party. Now we know why. So he got about 1,200 votes to get in. So you lot on Hollins who've suffered from Eastern European attacks on women and stuff like that, trying to drag prams away. I remember it clearly. There was a lad killed, a black lad killed on Limeside by police brutality. We'll get round to him another time. There was no Black Lives Matter come out when he got killed by police brutality, and it was police brutality according to the people who I've talked to from the estate. So there's no riot in there. So you lot voted this guy in. Now, I don't know if you realise that the Labour Party are not for the general working class. They're certainly not for the white working class, and they're certainly not for me. I'm mixed race, Jamaican English. There's nothing that Labour Party do for me either. And a lot of other communities who are not Indigenous English, they don't do nothing for you. You're not getting it. They're just causing more divide. The overall spatial grid of Manchester is just segregation and ghettos everywhere you look across Manchester and Greater Manchester. Yet you in the Hollins ward still voted the Labour Party in. You'll do it again this year. You'll do it again next year. They're not doing nothing for you. Just off Hollins Road, there was 7 Romanians rescued from a basement. They've been there 9 months in a basement. Modern day slavery. There was a very high profile people trafficker caught in Oldham down near the Hollins area. Now, you might say, well, I'm not voting anyone else because I'm not a racist. Look what's happening on your doorstep and you're doing nothing about it. These are all documented cases. These are in the papers. You can Google up, look, modern day slavery in Oldham. I'll put a couple of links up in the description when I've finished. So how come you're not doing nothing about that? But you won't vote anybody else because they're supposed to be racist. Well, they're not racist. It's just that the mainstream parties don't want you voting for other people. They don't want you voting for other people. You really need to get that around your thick heads in Hollins if you haven't worked it out already. And I'm back in Oldham now, and soon as my stuff goes through, I'll be a registered voter. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down Hollins, and I'm day after day during the summer, and I'm going to talk to people there and ask them what they think. I'm going to talk to them and ask them, did you know that they're going to teach your kids 100 genders when they're going in school? I'm going to talk to them, did you know the kind of violence around their area? I'm going to talk to them, did you know that slaves are kept on Hollins Road in their ward? You know what I mean? Did they know that people traffickers work around there? Did they know that there's a chance that like girls and people would be kidnapped off the streets? There was a lad cleaved, a young lad under 15 cleaved to his skull at the side of Alexandra Park by Eastern Europeans and robbed of his phone and a couple of quid. I seen it was well documented. This is an article in the papers. Like I said, I'll look for some of these links and I'll put them in the description. You really need to stop voting Labour. You really need to. If you don't want to vote for another party, look at an independent in your area. There's definitely people in Hollins, certainly on Limeside, who could command a big vote if they put their head out to it. And what I'm telling you now is that if you man up and step up and you want to get involved in being a local councillor, contact me. I'm from Oldham and I know people across Limeside. I'm good at talking to people at the door. If your manifesto, your points are productive enough to stop a lot of what's going on, I'll support you. I'll come down and knock on doors. Like I said, I'm well known. There's a lot of people know me in Limeside. And I know people down there for 30, 40 years. So just think about it. So your Labour councillor that you voted in ended up being downloading child porn. Now, what's the next step from downloading child porn for a pervert or a paedophile? Starts at downloading child porn, then they want more. Then it gets bigger increases. They want more. And then they'll go to talking to girls online and kids online. And then where does it go from there? Did he end up meeting them and raping them, which is what a lot of the class 1 paedophiles do, that kind of thing. Martin Judge obviously working in a gang, so he's not part of our grooming gang. It looks like he did this on his own. And this is a profile of a typical white paedophile in England. Don't listen to that rape gang report, because that's wrong. The most of the white paedophiles do not work in gangs. They do not use taxi ranks. They do not have the cousins, the dads, the brothers involved. They don't threaten to kill people. These are on the class 1 paedophile profile. And look online, look at what the police will say. And profiling people just don't work the same. But anyway, Martin Judd. Now remember, it was Big John who first brought this guy's name up. It was Big John who continued to bring this guy's name up. So we've got patriots who attended demos helping out with getting this information. We've got people on Twitter, Oldham good activist, very vocal in Oldham, looking at stuff and telling me things that are happening. And obviously, when we didn't know whether he'd been charged or accused with any kind of offences like this. I never said that. I just said he'd been dropped from the Labour Party. There's many videos where I've said that. So people in Hollins area, wake up, please. Wake up. So you've got like police brutality, but there's no Black Lives Matter for that guy because he was BAME. You've got Eastern European crime, people being mugged in the street. So it was a woman, 50-odd-year-old woman. She's got a pram. She's got a grandchild with her or something. And they tried grabbing the pram off her. She went on Facebook, did a post. Next thing, the police turned up at the door, told her to take the post down. This is what we're up against in Oldham. That's not like protecting anyone. I know the Limeside area around where the supermarkets are and that. There's some very dodgy, dark roads and stuff like that. It's not lit up enough. You know what I mean? That's certainly not lit up enough in a few areas. So people in the Hollins area of Oldham, please just look into your Labour Party. They're not there for you. They are there for the immigrant, but they're not there for you. Eastern European immigration into the town is the biggest immigration, some of the biggest immigration in the country of these types of people, Romanians. In the schools now, there's more than 40% secondary and primary school with Eastern European kids in, with Eastern European parents. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but do these people care about Oldham like we care about? Probably not. Already, the ghetto's been formed at the top of Ashton Road, the Alexandra side part, whatever it's called, Primrose Bank area. There's a ghetto been formed there. When I was active on my previous Facebook, I had 5,000 friends. I got involved in a post where the Pakistanis was threatening to go over to the other side of the road and burn all the Eastern Europeans out. That's what they said on Facebook, because a young Pakistani lad with learning difficulties had been attacked. So it's just ghetto trouble all around Oldham, and you're still not waking up. The Labour Party are fueling this. They're absolutely fueling this in Oldham and a lot of places in Greater Manchester. I've showed you the links already to the modern day slavery. I've showed you the links to these attacks that go on in Oldham. I've talked about the Muslim Defence League in depth. I even turned up at court when they were at court. I'll put the link up for the video there. So remember, when you vote a Labour councillor in, they're not really for you. They might end up being a paedophile. They're certainly covering up crimes in and around Oldham. There's a big grooming case going on now. A friend of mine, he's been intimidated that much off the local authorities, won't even talk to me. And this is someone I know this. And his case is a historical case because it's not recently. It goes back so many years. But we're just not going to know it. And this is guys in Oldham, this. And I think that some of the guys involved in the gang who've raped her, I have big connections in Oldham, certainly to the Labour Party. But we'll get onto that when it more comes out. So, Hollins Ward, are you being looked after by the Labour Party? When Jean Stretton was the leader, she'd have been on 100 grander. Now, what's happening with you all now? Have you still got your businesses? Are you working? Are your kids at school? Probably not. Labour is a big fuck up in Greater Manchester, certainly in Oldham. I don't know how many times I have to scream it out black and blue to people how bad it is, and the links to things. The 3 girls scandal that happened in Rochdale, 2 or 3 of the guys worked or lived in Oldham. Me and loads of other people suspect that them girls were trafficked to Oldham during this time. Nothing's ever come out about it. Big Daddy in that gang worked for Oldham Child Services. Now, he could have been a taxi driver. He could have been a maintenance man, but he has connections with Oldham Child Services, and that's Big Daddy of the Rochdale grooming gang. And like I said, 2 or 3 of the people worked or lived in Oldham, and at least one of them worked in one of the kebab houses on Yorkshire Street. And there's many empty flats up there. Me and loads of other people think that the girls from the 3 girls case in Rochdale were trafficked to Oldham, and if not farther, certainly to Oldham. I've said this a lot of times. I don't give a flying F what the authorities think. I haven't pointed the fingers at anybody. I haven't said anyone's name or anything like that. That's my opinion, and many other people. So remember that. This is Oldham. This is Oldham, where the Labour Party, the top 3 leaders get 100 grand a year, and they'll be on 100 grand a year now, while you lot are in poverty and losing your businesses. Remember, Sean Fielding and Angela Rayner, they don't care about the social distancing things. They've been travelling out. Sean Fielding's been on recreation, like a little holiday. They've been meeting up in Ashton Town Centre, but you lot have to do as you're told. You lot can't go to school. You can't send your kids to school. You lot can't go to work. You have to stay at home. You lot can't go to the shops and get anything. You lot can't have any recreational time. Oldham councillors can. Looks like a lot of other MPs and that can. You know what I mean? But you can't. Remember, it's you lot getting fined. I haven't seen any MP get fined for breaking social distancing rules. You lot will get fined. Labour will certainly want to fine you, right? But they get away with it. That's Oldham Labour. If you want to know any more, the contact details are in there. Got a PayPal link up. You can throw me a few quid in towards supporting me, any equipment, travel charges or anything. Again, I'm not no sucker, mate. I'm a highly active activist. I've been all over the country and I'm stepping up and going places. I'll be a local councillor in the next couple of years, right? Stepping up. Yeah, you lot still will slag me off for one reason or another. Next person who mentions me mum, I'm going to come and find you and then we'll see what happens then. But thank you very much. Respect.